Hello there, my name is Benedetta and welcome to Tender is the Read. Today's video is a massive book haul. As it turns out, in the past few months I've been accumulating a lot of books, so I thought why not share them with you all. I have a good mixture of classics, ARCs of upcoming books, and general literary fiction, so I hope that you find something that piques your interest. As always, if you're new here, I would highly appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to the channel and ringing the bell button so that you know when a new video comes out. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first group of books that I want to show you is my new Canterbury Classics. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know that I'm one of the Canterbury Classics ambassadors, which means that I can request a number of books from them, and I also receive their newest releases, which is something that I actually have here and I'm going to show you right now. First off, I want to show you the books that I was able to request. Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, and The Complete Tragedies of William Shakespeare. These three books belong to their Word Cloud Classic collection, and the reason why I requested them is that very soon at the end of the month I am going on a trip around England and Scotland, and I will be visiting a lot of literary places, and I just wanted to take cool photos and videos featuring the books in the settings in which they belong, basically. They were so kind as to send me these three, which are absolutely beautiful. As you can see behind me there, I have quite a big collection now of Word Cloud Classics. They're probably my favorite classics edition, and I've read all three of these. I've read Peter Pan just as soon as I received it, and obviously Shakespeare wise I've read a bunch of tragedies, not all, but nevertheless could not recommend any of these three more. Honestly, they're amazing. Now, the second batch of Canterbury Classics goodies was contained in their seasonal swag box for ambassadors, and we have some very exciting items here. First off, we have one of their Disney movie scripts, and this is The Little Mermaid, which of course is very topical right now because of the new live action movie coming out, but also just perfect for me because The Little Mermaid is my favorite Disney movie. This book basically has the script, but also a lot of just fun illustrations from the animation process, and it's just absolutely beautiful. It's got a cloth bound cover, and I don't know, it's just like so beautiful. Having The Little Mermaid is just so perfect. I am so thrilled. Next up is two new Word Cloud Classics that are joining the family in June, so they're not released yet. They are To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf and The Secret of Chimneys by Agatha Christie. So obviously two powerhouse 20th century writers, and they are just so beautifully detailed. Like you can see here, it's got a little house, and inside there's beautiful end papers and the little symbol on the spine, and inside is a beautiful rose. And for To the Lighthouse, we have the little seagulls and the lighthouse, of course, on the spine. I just really appreciate the attention to details. I'm so happy that they're joining the collection and it's expanding all the time. The next video I want to show you is not exactly a book, it's a novel journal. It is Emma by Jane Austen, as you can see on the spine, and basically what they have done is created a journal which is lined with the lines from the book from Emma. They're just tiny, so I don't think you could possibly read it from here, but some of the lines are highlighted when it's something particularly, I don't know, outstanding from the novel. And I just think it's such a cute, clever idea for book lovers, and I am very excited to fill it with all my probably bookish notes. Lists of books that I want to buy and such. And last but certainly not least is this beautiful leather-bound edition of the Bronte Sisters selected works. This gorgeous edition includes Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, and The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte, of course. It's beautifully designed with a stylized version of the moors of Yorkshire where the Bronte sisters lived and set their novels, and inside as well you can clearly see the landscape. The pages are beautifully gold foiled. I mean, this book, I don't have to sell it to you, it's just amazing, it speaks for itself. It looks so beautiful on my bookshelf up there with all my other leather-bound classics, and I'm just so grateful to have this. Of course, I love the Bronte Sisters. I mean, I already got Wuthering Heights in the Classics edition, so you know that I love it. And I can't wait to take it with me to Yorkshire at the end of the month. So very, very excited for this and thankful to Canterbury Classics. Also, if you're interested in Canterbury Classics in general, I do have all of my books that I own featured on my Amazon storefront, which I will be linking in the description below. If you decide to buy through the link, of course, I do get a small commission, but it doesn't affect the price for you. So you can see my photos and shop my collections at the link. Now, moving on, I would like to show you some of the ARCs that I've received. So the advanced review copies of books that are not quite out yet. The first one I got here is The Bookbinders of Jericho by Pip Williams, which comes out in the UK on the 6th of July. This book, I've not read it yet, but it is the story of two sisters who start working for the Oxford University Press during World War I, when obviously the men are at the front. And it's a story of female empowerment at a time in which women weren't really expected to have access or even have an interest in education and books. So it just sounds really lovely, a wholesome story, but a very interesting one. So I'm looking forward to reading it. Secondly, I have a book that was an ARC when I received it, but it's out now as of a couple of days, and it is Our Hideous Progeny by C.E. McGill, which is sort of a retelling of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. It follows the story of Victor Frankenstein's great niece as she rediscovers his works and notes and tries to use it for herself. It's a story that explores what happens when ambition becomes obsession, and it just sounds extremely, I don't know, gothic, mysterious. It's set in Victorian England, so I think that I'm gonna really enjoy this one, and I look forward to reading it. The final ARC I have is Clytemnestra's Bind by Susan C. Wilson, which comes out on the 15th of June in the UK, and is a myth retelling of the story of Clytemnestra and her interaction with the cursed house of Atreus. This is the first book of a trilogy which deals with Clytemnestra as a central character. So I really appreciated the fact that it could really take its time delving into the life of Clytemnestra as the Queen of Mycenae alongside her husband Agamemnon and her experience with motherhood. I immediately had to read this as soon as it arrived. I do think that there are a lot of mythology retellings that center around this particular character, Clytemnestra, but nevertheless, I think it brings something fresh and new to the table, so definitely one to look out for. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you some books that I actually bought recently. I've gone on a bit of a mad shopping spree, which is quite unlike me, but I'm happy that I got all of these books, so I'm excited to show you. Continuing with mythology retellings, I have recently acquired The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. This obviously is a very famous retelling. I've been putting it off because I don't think that I'll quite like it, but I found it at a charity shop, so of course I couldn't leave it there for £2. This is of course a gritty retelling of the Iliad, told from the perspective of Briseis, who is a slave or a war spoil really, who's contended between Agamemnon and Achilles. I really like this genre, so I'll read it. It's one of the most acclaimed, I guess, so in fact it was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2019, so why not? And last is Ithaca by Claire North, which is a book that I've been waiting to come out in paperback form for a while, so I had to rush to Waterstones as soon as they came out. This is the story of Penelope and sort of what she got up to when Odysseus was in Troy for 10 years and then lost at sea for another 10. This is also the first of a saga, or at least there is a sequel, which is called House of Odysseus, which is coming out this year. And I don't know, I am just really excited to read this. Don't know much about the book itself. Obviously, I'm familiar with the myth and I love these characters, so I'm really excited to see what Claire North did with them. This book, on the other hand, was a bit of a spontaneous buy, I guess. It is Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellers. This book, as soon as it came out, I just loved the aesthetic. I just love the title itself. It's just so beautiful, and I was, you know, keen on it, but at the same time I don't really read romance or even just contemporary fiction, so I don't know, I was just a little bit unsure. But I have to say, at the minute I am in a bit of a contemporary phase and also open to reading romance a little bit more, especially when it's something so sort of like gritty and not overly toxic, but definitely complicated type of romance and love. This book is set in New York City, which I love, in the early 2000s, I believe, and I don't know, I just really love the glamour. It's a very interesting cast of characters. In fact, I didn't say it, but I bought it just the other day and I've already finished it. I don't know, it was just a really lovely read, and I'm excited to try new things for myself, and this was a good start, I guess. Next, I got Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. I got this book for a book club, an upcoming book club, and I was fairly excited to read it. It is the Women's Prize for Fiction winner for 2020, so I had hope for this book. I didn't love it, I have to say. I've already read it. I read it in one evening, so I feel like that must say something about it, but I just can't quite reconcile my feelings on it, I guess. It is the story of the life and death of William Shakespeare's son Hamnet, or Hamlet. It's a story of grief and complicated family dynamics. It is interesting. I don't know what I expected from it. Something different anyway, but again, it is a very highly acclaimed book, so worth the read for sure. And finally, one that I picked up, I actually ordered on eBay secondhand, is The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. I honestly don't know anything about this book. It was a bit of a blind buy, but I have been obsessed with the cover ever since I first saw it, and the spine. It's wonderful. I don't know. It is the winner of the Man Booker Prize of 2013. If that means anything to you, I don't follow literary awards really at all, so I don't know what it means, but nevertheless, I don't know anything about it. I'm very excited to go into this practically blind. All I know is set in 1866 in New Zealand, which sounds extremely fascinating, and it's got to do with astrology, and it gives me dark academia vibes, even though, I don't know, I don't see it next to other famous dark academia books when they get mentioned. Maybe because it's like slightly older and maybe a little bit forgotten perhaps, but I saw it in my local bookstore, like displayed on a table, so I don't know. I don't know much about it, but I like going into books without knowing much, so I'm excited to read this very, very soon. Okay, so that is all. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books, or if you're interested in getting any of them. And also just generally let me know if you enjoy book hauls. Give it a like if you enjoyed it, so that I know to make more whenever I get books, which is not often that I get so many. This was a very exceptional couple of months, but nevertheless, it's been fun sharing them with you. So thanks again, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye!